Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is my top 15 games from 2023. And yes, you heard that correctly, 2023, not 2024. This is part of a series of look-back videos that I do every single year. At the beginning of each year, I do a bunch of videos that take a look back a full year past, not 2024, but 2023. This is part of a series of 4 or 5 videos that I've done, or am doing, or am in the middle of doing. I have my top 10 faded games from 2023. I have my top 10 games I most want to play from 2023. I have the top 10 hidden gems, or maybe it's top 15 hidden gems. Some of them are 10, some of them are 15, but from 2023 hidden gems, and this video is my top 15 games from 2023. I'm going to be going through these, and I'm going to go through them somewhat quickly, because honestly, if you watch my top 100 games of all time, I think 13 of these 15 games are in my top 100 games of all time. The very last 2 were not, so I guess those are slightly more interesting. The rest are in my top 100, and in the same order that they're in my top 100, which would make sense, I guess, logically speaking. So I will be a little brief while I go through these when I talk about the games. I will tell you briefly what I like about the game, all that. I'll do the usual, just slightly more brief than I would otherwise. I'll also be talking about where the games were last year. There are 7 games that are new to this list, although to be clear, that's because I'm doing 15 instead of 10, so in reality 2 are new to this list and 5 are just we're doing 5 more games. Meanwhile, 2 of the games from last year are dropped off, which we'll talk about those as well. In fact, let's start with those. Tenaris Adventures was my number 10 last year, and it did drop off the list. Master of the Universe was also on that list, and it was number 7 if I recall correctly, and that dropped off the list as well. Both of these are in my top 10 faded games, which would make sense. But past that, let's go ahead and start with our number 15. Our number 15 was almost in my top 100, just missed the cut, and that is Forest Shuffle. Forest Shuffle is excellent. I've thoroughly enjoyed playing through this. I still haven't played the expansion. I need to get my hands on the expansion, but I've thoroughly enjoyed playing through this over here. It is a delightful game of just adding cards, building out a forest, and then trying to figure out the right combinations. Plays quickly, handles a variety of player counts, and is all around a good time and very accessible. Also on Board Game Arena if you want to try there. Coming in at number 14, we have Apiary, which was on my top 100 2 years ago. It did drop a little bit. It just missed my top 100 this past year, but it is number, 14 on this list. It was my number 9 in my first of this list last year. It was my number 9. It did drop to number 14. I still thoroughly enjoy Apiary. Ultimately, the thing that holds it back is that Apiary doesn't do anything that is that different from other games. It just works well in combination with the things that it does. So all this stuff works well. It is a worker placement game, a bee placement game, in which your bees tick up slowly as you utilize them, and you're trying to go to the various zones at the right strength in order to benefit from their actions. In fact, I just recently played Teotihuacan for the first time, and it seems like part of that might be inspired by Teotihuacan, although I can't say for sure, but it definitely seems to have an element of similarity to that. I still overall enjoy Apiary, just a drop less than I did, last year when I played it. Then we have coming in at number 13, we have 20 Strong. 20 Strong was coming in at 8 last year, so it did drop a little bit, or just other games went up ahead of it. Either one of those things can be true. But 20 Strong from Chip Theory. This is the Artanglewords box, because I still have it, fortunately, because I'm glad that I do. But this is 20 Strong, giving you a solo experience of rolling a bunch of dice and utilizing them as you face off of various adventures. I find the game is very easy to play, very simple to play. Well, simple is relative, but simple compared to Chip Theory games for sure. And then overall, just gives you a challenge of an experience where you get to power up across a 30 to 40 minute journey, which is just a great way to have fun as you power up your character, take down the baddies, and there are so many different 20 Strong systems that makes it, easy to dive into something else when you're craving a little bit of variety in the gameplay. Coming in at number 12, we have one that was my top 100. It was not on my list last year. I had not played it last year. Forest Shuffle, I don't remember if I played in time for my top 10 of 2023, but this one I definitely did not. This is Faraway from Panasaurus, a delightful game that I've played more times than I care to count. I'm probably coming up on close to 50 plays of this between in person, between Board Game Arena. This is just an easy game to play, and again, it plays well at 2 players, and it plays well at the full complement of, I believe, 6 players. Yep, 6 players over here, and it's just a delightful little game of trying to go on a journey and figure out your scoring combinations. I've been having a lot of fun with Castle Combo recently. I think I enjoy Faraway more, but Castle Combo's also got its hooks in me deep, and I'm really enjoying that one a lot as well. But that's not the point of this list. That is not a 2023 title. Coming in at number 11, one that was not on my list last year, but again, I think I had not played it by last year, although I did play Bora Bora, which is what this is based on. And this is Cuzco from Stefan Feld and Queen Games, part of the City Collection, a re-implementation of Bora Bora, a dice drafting game that is highly addictive, a great Euro experience as far as taking various dice and trying to figure out the right dice to take at any given point. and when to take higher dice that will give you more of a reward versus lower dice that will cut your opponent off from going to various places on the board. It is a tight little system from Stefan Feld, one of his classics, and one that I thoroughly enjoy. Coming in at number 10, we have Beast. And again, this is not on the list last year, although it possibly should have been. I don't know why it wasn't on my top 10 games of 2023. It probably should have been. Beast is fantastic. This is an excellent hidden movement game that gives you high degrees of asymmetry. It gives you drafting cards, which is so much fun, and the drafting in this game is so tense and delightful, and I'm excited for the expansion content whenever that shows up. But this one, as it is, it's from my hidden movement games that I enjoy the most. Mind Management is my favorite hidden movement game, and Beast is my second favorite. It is an excellent experience. Coming in at number 9, another one that probably should have been on my list. I think it was in my 11 through 20, which it may have moved up, I guess, but number 9 is Rolling Heights. Rolling Heights from AEG. I did do an 11 through 20 last year, but it was over on my Patreon, and honestly, I forgot to look it up before doing this video, so whatever games are on my 11 through 20, they're not over here. But Rolling Heights is over here. This is consistently an easy game to play, an easy game to roll a bunch of meeples, which is so satisfying. I hope, John, and the off chance you're watching this video, John Declare is a designer, John, in the off chance you watch this video, please make more games where you roll meeples. Ideally, good games too, because that's, well, better than a bad game. But the whole system you have, obviously Cubitos in this, then there's Quacks of Quedlinburg, but the push your luck system is so satisfying, and rolling meeples is so much fun. There's got to be like a dungeon crawl kind of Quacks of Quedlinburg, Rolling Heights, Cubitos style game that you can do with rolling meeples, and I would love to see it because I love this. Like, rolling meeples is one of the most satisfying things that I never knew that I wanted, because how could I possibly know that I want it? If you've played Rolling Heights, you probably agree with me. Probably, maybe not, maybe you don't. It's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. We can still be friends. Coming in at number 8, we have Trailblazers, which again, I don't think I had played as of last year, because this almost certainly would have been on the list. Almost certainly, I can't say for sure. Trailblazers from Ryan Courtney. Trailblazers is another drafting game, although honestly the drafting is not the best part of this game. The best part of the game is just overlaying various cards as you make little maps on this board over here, and then try to desperately build your way back to camp. This is a game where my eyes are always bigger than my stomach whenever I play it. I am constantly trying to do more than I realistically have time to do, and thinking that I will, and never really learning. Trailblazers is one of my favorite games to teach to new players, because I almost always lose this game. Inherently, this means if you see me at a convention and ask me to teach you the game, I will probably win against you, but that's not the plan. That's not intended. I almost always lose Trailblazers. It's not a game I'm good at, because I constantly think I'll be able to do a bit more than I actually can. Coming in at number 7, we have Ticket to Ride, Legends of the West, which was my number 6 last year, so not much of a drop over here, although granted, I haven't played it since that list either, because I am waiting to dive into it again, and I do plan on diving into it again. This is a legacy version of Ticket to Ride, and it is an excellent experience that I have had a ton of fun playing and cannot wait to dive into again, and it will certainly happen. Coming at number 6, we have Sankore. This was my number 5 last year, so again, a minor drop, not much of which. This is the biggest complaint I have against Sankore, is that it is a harder game to teach new players. It takes a longer time to teach it, and I have gotten rid of many a game for that exact critique. There are many games that I've said, it's great, it's amazing, but I don't want to teach new players, and I get rid of those games. That has happened, it will happen again. Sometimes I just don't. Sometimes I'm just going to always pull Rolling Heights off the shelf, as opposed to playing a game that I'm like, I don't want 40 minutes of a teach. I don't want to do it. And that will happen. Sankore is good enough that I don't care. And that's not, and again, the issue, the complaint is a real, genuine complaint. It's a real problem with this game, and it's one that you should know before you go into it. It doesn't matter how good of a teacher you are. I'd be shocked at the person who can realistically teach Sankore in less than 30 minutes. I just think there's a lot of information to cover, and there are simpler games to play. But Sankore is so good that it is worth that payoff. I will happily teach it to new players in my game group, because I will be able to table it more, and it's a great game that is worth tabling more. Coming in at number 5, we have Expeditions, which was my number 2 last year. Definitely saw a drop, although I don't even know if it's really anyone's fault. Like, this is such a good game. I have so much fun playing it. It's one of the more played games in my top, whatever games of 2023. I've gotten a lot of plays in it, consistently played it a bunch. The expansion came out, I played a bunch of the expansion as well. It is one that is easy to table, enjoyable to table, and a lot of fun. It's dropped to number 5, which is a crazy drop, but it still is an excellent time from Stonemaier Games. One of my favorite, if not my favorite Stonemaier game is Expeditions, coming in at my number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies, and I just have this box over here, but Marvel Zombies is an excellent Zombicide experience. I love Zombicide as a game system, and Black Plague and Marvel Zombies are still top tier for me there. This was actually number 4 last year. It managed to maintain its position, not going higher, not going lower. It is still my number 4. Marvel Zombies, an excellent time from CMON Games. Coming in at number 3, we have Everdell Farshore. Everdell Farshore was not on the list last year. I have to check when I played this and whether there's a good reason for that oversight or not. I may have put it in my top 11 through 20, maybe, or maybe I just hadn't played it yet. I'm not certain. What I do know is it's excellent and it should be here. This is one of those that I've consistently come back to, which is like, the more often oh my gosh, every time I want to play Everdell, half the time I end up playing Everdell Farshore these days. It is just so much fun to dive into. I think Everdell is such a great system, and the fact that it has worked so well in so many implementations of the system is a good indicator of how good of a system it is. I think Everdell Farshore is fantastic. I like it a lot. I recommend it. Everdell is great, and Everdell Farshore is a good way to dip into that world. Coming in at number 2, which was number 3 last year, we have The Witcher: The Old World. The Witcher: Old World is a... Did this box turn at some point? What happened here? What happened to these things over here? Anyways, The Witcher: Old World. This is another one that I've had consistently had a good time every single time I sit down and table it. It's one that has continuously grown with me, grown for me, I should say. Again, it's my number 3 last year, my number 2 this year. Whenever I play it, it is at this point, it's my favorite adventure game. When you're looking for an adventure game where you have a character, this is almost certainly my favorite adventure game. I have to look at my top 10 of all time, but it's definitely in that category when you think of going on a journey, building up your character, powering through things. It's not really a dungeon crawler, it's dungeon crawler adjacent, but I have so much fun playing through it, and I still haven't played most of the expansion content, which, it's just a good game. It's a good game. I love it, and I should probably play it more and play through more of the stuff, but it is a lot of fun when I do. And then my number 1 is still For Northwood. This was my number 1 last year. It's my number 1 this year. It is consistently one of my most played games on this table of games. I played Faraway more. I played more Faraway than I have For Northwood, but For Northwood is a delightfully good solo trick-taking experience that I consistently can't stop talking about. One of my favorite comments was, somebody said something like, if I had a nickel for every time you talked about For Northwood, I'd have like, I don't know, $4 to $4.50, something like that. And they're not wrong. They probably would have $4.50 because this is an accessible in terms of price point, in terms of travel, in terms of ease of play. The only thing that you can't do with this is play it with more than one person because it is a solo trick-taking game. I mean, I guess you could cooperatively make decisions together, but at that point, I would probably just recommend some good 2-player experiences instead. Anyways, that is my top 15 games of 2023 after revisiting them a year and a half later. Again, I say a year and a half because some games are early in 2023, some games are later, so it's somewhere between a year to a year, somewhere between a year to 2 years, depending on which game at which point. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.